Welcome back to The Last Word, and we talking the NBA playoffs. We're talking Game 7s. Does everybody remember that Oprah Winfrey series that she did? You get a car, you get a car, you get a car. Guess what? This series, you get a Game 7, you get a Game 7, you get a Game 7s. It's raining Game 7s. We're talking the Orlando Magic, the Detroit Pistons. We're talking Philadelphia. We're talking the Boston Celtics. And we got to talk about the Raptors. Game 7, taking the Cleveland Cavaliers all the way to the house. Now, Karen, we got to talk about this quickly, so let's address this first. The Philadelphia 76ers, now, they were my sleeper pick for this series, crawled their way back out of a hole. Maxey, Edgecombe, even Paul George with the icing on the cake, the big man in the middle, Embiid. They're taking Boston to Game 7. What happens, and how exciting has this series been so far?
This has been an absolutely fascinating series, considering how it started off. Thinking, this is probably looking like a gentleman's sweep kind of series. Especially when the Embiid comes back and they lose that game, and then Philly has just found their rhythm, found their stroke, and also Boston not being able to make shots out, especially their 3-point shots. It's been an absolutely interesting series, and now that the Tatum injury, they say he's okay, but is something happening there? Is that going to impede his ability to show up in Game 7? It's setting up for a heck of a game on Saturday.
Well, it's going to be really, really fantastic. I hope that Boston can pull it off, because...
Hold on. You're hoping Boston pulls it off?
Yeah, I hope Boston
Philly
pulls
was
it.
your sleeper team? I was just about to ask you, are you all in on Philly? And
No.
now you just backdoored quickly
No.
hoping
There's
Boston
a difference.
wins? What?
I was critiquing the game, and I said Philly is my sleeper pick. Doesn't mean that I'm for Philly. Remember, I'm a Toronto man. We waxed them up to get to the NBA Finals and take that title. No, I'm just saying I hope that Boston wins, because it would be one of the most successful stories in the NBA has had in a long time. Jason Tatum coming back from that Achilles injury in record time to be able to elevate the Boston Celtics over a pretty good Philadelphia team to the second round. That's why I'm hoping that Boston wins.
Wasn't playing good basketball before him coming back. Let's pump the brakes there. But
yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm hoping that Boston wins this game. It just would be a feel-good series, and Boston moving forward, it's more money, more marketing. It's just better when Boston.
Better storylines, Boston, because everyone was anticipating the Boston-New York matchup.
100%.
So for that to not come to fruition would suck for basketball fans, right?
100%.
And again, even moving forward for competition, it's better that Boston does make it to the next round, because I don't see Philly really being a factor going forward.
Let's talk about.
Although I didn't anticipate them being a factor in this series or getting into a Game 7. So
Joel Embiid's been known to score off 1 foot.
Again.
And if he's able to put together a performance like he's known, he's an MVP. So if he's able to show that, he wants to be talked about as one of the greatest big men of all time, this victory could possibly elevate him to that status. We never know.
One thing it does show us with Embiid at whatever 60 to 70% that he is,
still dominant.
How lacking the league is of big men. This guy at 60% can come in and just dominate a team easily. It again shows the NBA, man. It's fallen far in terms of big man and a big man's capabilities.
Very skilled. Yeah, that's true. That is so true. Let's talk about the Orlando Magic, Detroit Pistons. Now, before you say anything, I had to retract my statement, and I'm very sorry. I did say that Cade was showing some shade, but right now Cade is showing us that he is that dude. He is a bad man. He said, y'all must have forgot who I am. I'm that number 1 seed, and I don't care if I have any other offensive help. Just give me the ball, get out the way. I am that dude. My
I knew,
apologies.
I knew, I knew, I knew, I knew you're gonna cover your ass on this one because you know I messaged you when you did your little soliloquy about how Cade ain't who we thought he was, and I
You
told
know,
you
what have
it's
you done
how
for me
good
lately,
the
League? You know what it
Cade is
is. You know.
single-handedly keeping them in games. Only guy who's able to score. The guy needs help, and you're like, no, he's healthy. It's on him.
Hey, we gave it to the Joker too. Like, you see Perk give it to Joker, said, listen, I had to apologize to Shaq, to Kareem, to David Robinson. Yo, this guy's not that guy. And then Stephen A said, yo, Perk, he averaged 25, 13, and 9 this season. That still ain't good enough. If you ain't winning, you got that shade. So, Cade, kudos to you. Critique that series. Does Detroit pull it off? Game 7, big night. What happens?
How does Detroit not win the game 7 in their backyard? Again, Orlando. Absolutely. How do you not? How do you even? How do you get up? How do you get yourself to believe that you can win again? You were at home, up 24 points against a team that is offensively challenged. You had them dead to rights. All you had to do is just play basketball at any decent semblance, and you had that series, and you blew it.
Indictment on Pablo, Suggs, Bane. I'm sorry, even though you play well, it's an indictment on all you guys. It's a travesty.
You missed the most important. You missed the most important. The coach.
The coach, it's a coach, yeah.
I don't see a way he's
can't come
with
back.
this team next year.
No, there's no way.
If they don't advance,
You're
recover
done.
somehow.
Mm-hmm.
That coach, he's done for.
I don't call for more people's jobs, but in this case, you said it right. The coach is
not
to
even
blame.
calling for his job. It's just reality. How
do you stay?
How does a general manager look at that coach and say,
we were right there, man. You let it slip through our fingers. What happened?
we can run it back? You can't run it back.
Can't run it back. Let's talk about the last game 7. Toronto Raptors against the Cleveland Cavaliers. James Harden is showing you who he's always been. Sometimes he's there, sometimes he's not. Sometimes it's just not going to cut it for game 7s. And if you had to bet your money on James Harden in a game 7, bet that he's not going to show up, because history has shown us that James Harden just can't be relied on. But luckily for the Cavaliers, they have Donovan Mitchell, Mobley, and Jared Allen. 3 other players that can definitely carry the load. So if you ask me, going back home to Cleveland, they certainly do have the edge. But we are injury riddled. The Raptors, we don't know what kind of version of BI we're going to get. If we're going to get BI, I'll have to give the Cleveland Cavaliers the edge. But I told you before the playoffs started, I have faith. Raptors have overachieved, and I'm still going to support my Raptors. I guess maybe you could say that's a little bit of, superstition, or just want to believe the unbelievable, but I'm still riding and dying with my Raptors, simply because James, Donovan Mitchell, both of that backcourt has been known. Like, Donovan Mitchell hasn't really been out the second round. Like, don't get it twisted. Donovan Mitchell does crumble in the playoffs, just like James Harden. So it's possible that our guys can do it. What do you think?
You know what? I like where you're going with that one. The 2 guys who have very checkered playoff records with Mitchell and Harden. Even Harden coming off game 6, shooting like 5 for 14, 16 points. These guys just totally different players, home and road in this series. Unfortunately for the Raptors, Cleveland goes back home for game 7. So you're probably going to see Harden and Mitchell at their best, meaning the Raptors will have to definitely be at their best and not so much reliant on these guys falling apart or coming up short, I believe. So you're going to need a superior effort from the Raptors defensively, rebounding the ball, and a hint of magic. And that little magic might simply be Brandon Ingram showing up and playing like the all-star player he was during the regular season. If that mixture of things happen, yes, the Raptors can win. How likely is that? Ask yourself. It's hard to say, but I think common sense will tell you gotta lean Cleveland.
Well, Krine has no faith, as we can see, but he is leaning with his expertise and his wisdom. So, on paper, that pick is a solid pick, Cleveland. But just like in 2019, we believed, and with a little bit of luck, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell will show us who they are. And this Game 7 will go in the favor of the Toronto Raptors. Let's go. That's the last word.